Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. We are covering today Mistborn, The Well of Ascension, chapters 23, 24, and 25, wherein Sazed tells the crew a story, and then we go shopping. I think I skipped what happens in the middle chapter, actually, but it's fine. Clearly, it wasn't as important as the story and the shopping. It was Zane. I'm sorry. It was Zane and Vin's conversation. It's not as fun as shopping. Anyway, this is Data, and with me is
Joe,
Jack,
and Jaymee.
So let's do it. Hold on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Elders, tellers, keepers of the bottom, treasures of the dirt. Russian string, we swivel and sing and dig for the annals of the earth. And we try to keep a little beauty in the world. All that die, we keep it in our hands.
Okay, and so, yes, before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know we are actually recording this episode the day after the last episode because we're going to miss a weekend because Joe thinks that his wedding anniversary is really important for some reason. I don't know. Strange.
schedule conflict.
But so if anyone sent us something, it may be a while before you actually hear it on the show because we're going to be not recording for just over a week here. Or I guess actually 2 weeks, kind of, until the next time we'll record. So anyway, just to let everybody know. So having said that, what did you guys think of these 3 chapters that you read in the past day?
I read these first thing this morning when I woke up, so my brain probably wasn't working all the way when I started reading them. I'm not a coffee drinker or anything, but I did like the chapters. I feel like I was expecting so much more from the first Sazed moment we get, but that's just me being greedy, I guess.
You were looking forward to Sazed coming back to start a whole new adventure and stuff.
Right. But I mean, we got to give him some time, I like that he talked with Tindwyl. There's obviously, and I almost, I never predicted it, so I can't officially say that I thought this might happen, but like there's obviously some kind of history with them. And I thought that when she first arrived, but I never did really bring that up in the podcast. So I guess that's not something I could prove that I had that thought beforehand. But so I liked that. Then going shopping was kind of ridiculous, except for the end where all the people come and gather around here. That was a little creepy / interesting. And I don't like Zane. He creeps me out, which I guess he's supposed to. And I'm definitely getting the sense that he's trying to win Vin's affection. So, but we'll see where that goes, I guess.
Yeah, he seems to. Straff told him to get her to trust him, so it could just be part of that. But he's definitely trying to do something.
no, I really agree. I think I also expected a bit more out of the initial appearance of Sazed in the city. That's a weird spin-off of Sex in the City.
I'd watch it. It's fun.
Sazed in the City. That is a show I would watch.
Does he just go to the bar by himself and drink a Cosmo? I don't know.
He'd just be really polite about it as well.
Yeah.
He thinks.
Maybe he'll make friends with Orsor. It'll be like Sazed and Orsor at the bar.
Terrasman and the dog. I spent the entire conversation with Sazed just going, all right, and then tell them you saw Marsh. Any minute now. I was hanging out with Marsh. We went and saw a whole bunch of bodies. No? Okay, I guess we're saving that for later. Says that, I'm also just like, Zane just seems like, I'm getting a weird Edward Cullen vibe off of him. He's the stalker with the crush. And it's like, I really think something needs to happen with you at this point. And, I think shopping was fine, I guess. It wasn't what I expected to happen. It was good to see more of Allrianne, and between that and the Sazed conversation, she seems like, I think I'm right. There's definitely more to her than just the bubbly girl who's come in on a horse to see Breeze. Like, there's definitely something else going on there. But yeah, I just felt like these chapters we've done a whole lot of build-up already, and I'm ready at this point for shit to start happening. And I think these chapters were just like, all right, we've done the build-up. Let's get on with shit.
Yeah, it's I can see that. It's definitely a little slower through some of this middle section than maybe you expect, but it's kind of part of the whole genre change thing that we talked about before, where it's like it's not the adventure heist of the last book, it's this political drama or political thriller thing. So it's like
and that's it. The first book right from the start had a very clear end goal of like, this is the point we want to end up at, and that is where the book ended. With this one, it's not as clearly laid out. This is our end goal as a group, like the character's end goal. So they're reacting to everything that's going on rather than taking the initiative. So I guess, we're just waiting for it to get to a point where they have to do that.
Yeah, I guess the most initiative they're taking at the moment is going to be this meeting with Straff, which I think that third chapter, the shopping chapter, is meant to be like, we're getting prepared to go meet Straff. But I see what you mean.
I like these chapters. There wasn't a lot of action or anything, but I was really happy to see that Sazed made it back safely and seeing everyone. I'm sort of not surprised he didn't bring up the conventicle at this point. I think he needed to get out. Obviously, the Koloss was probably the most important thing, and then the Mists need to be brought up because they're the more immediate threat. But yeah, I feel like the conventicle is probably a conversation that he'll have with Vin when Vin talks to him sort of in more detail about the Mists, because everyone else is kind of dismissive of it at this point. But no, it was really good to see him back with everyone. I cannot stand Powderpuff. There's nothing redeeming about her. And the fact that even Elend, poor King Elend, Mr. Oblivious, could figure out that she was spying. I was like, nah. Yeah, you gotta go. You're not okay. So
not even a good spy. So sad.
No, she's terrible. If Captain Oblivious can figure it out, you've really got some work to do. Yeah, so didn't really like her. The shopping trip was interesting. Vin still wants to be a lady on some level, but I don't know, dressing her up to go and meet Straff Venture. Yeah, let's just see how that's going to go anyway, even if they get there now, given the end of the chapters. I loved when Ursula was sort of giggling about, what's her name? Allrianne, yep. In the carriage, I just thought that was so good. I'm really pleased that Vin and Ursula seem to be buddies a little bit. So yeah, I really enjoyed all these little character moments. But yeah, I would agree with Dak. I am so ready for something to actually start happening. Now we've got a lot of prep, and it's like, come on, let's go. So,
yeah, these are definitely like 100% character developing chapters that we did this time. So
yep.
Okay, well, I guess let's get into these. The epigraphs this time are pretty much all more of, I forgot his name for a second, Quan, like just throwing more Alendi fun facts at us. So he's like, the terrorists rejected him, but he came to lead them. Okay, thanks.
Quan's setting up his profile on a dating app or something.
Yeah.
These epigraphs, they're pretty much chronological, aren't they? Like they're in order.
Yeah, pretty much.
Of how you would read them. Yeah, okay. He's still very much setting the story.
Yeah.
With Alendi, so.
Yeah, and I think these epigraphs where he starts throwing out these facts starts out with, like, the one before that he actually starts with the facts is where he just seemed to fit all of the anticipation stuff so well. So I assume these are supposed to be examples of how he fit their myth so well or whatever. But it just does come off as like random fun fact. So we start out with everybody's in the kitchen and Sazed is telling them about the army of Koloss. And everyone's like, oh, well, that's bad. And they've gotten Sazed some food because he's done a lot of walking lately and he's hungry.
I thought it was very sweet when he's just like, oh no, I gotta wait, and Ellen is like, no, you will eat now.
He's like, you're not anybody's servant, and he's like, it's not about being servant, it's about being polite. He's like, be polite later, eat now. I thought that was
a great moment from Ellen. It's just like, he really does care about people.
And he's starting to, be a little bit commanding at the same time, so it's kind of a double.
Yeah.
Sazed apologizes. He's like, I do apologize, but I don't think that Lord Lacal is trustworthy. I know you guys were friends, but he seems kind of unstable. Which, yeah, he did. And we find out that the Koloss apparently went crazy, like, within a day of the Lord Ruler's death, even though they're far out on the edges of the Empire. So, he was doing something to control them in some way.
Plot twist, they were the danger the Lord Ruler was warning everyone about when he died.
Yeah, I mean, if he's been physically controlling them and stopping them from destroying society for 1,000 years, then yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, like, the obvious question is, all right, so if he was, if he was as powerful with his mental allomancy, like, as he was with all the rest, was he just, like, sitting in his tower and at a distance he was just constantly soothing their emotions so they didn't lose their shit?
That's an interesting thought. So maybe if Jasty's figured out how to do that, we don't know that he's an allomancer, but maybe he has somebody that could work. And so they're getting the details on the army from Sazed, and they're trying to figure out what does this mean for us, basically. And it's they kind of come down in the end after some discussion here on being like, I guess another army just gives us kind of, as the small group, like, more power in this negotiation, especially like an unstable army that the other two armies are going to be scared of. Which I don't know how you guys were expecting them to react when they got the news of the Koloss, but they take it better than I thought they would.
Well, they really just take it as we've got enough shit to deal with right now. We can't worry about the threat that isn't here yet compared to the ones that are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, I would say, besides Sazed, nobody in this crew has probably seen Koloss or seen what they can do firsthand. So they may just, stories about how awful something is may not be enough to really instill fear in you if you don't actually know what they're capable of, which at this point, we don't really know what they can do as a reader or as the characters,
Yeah, I think the main example we're given in this chapter is Breeze says that 500 Koloss took out 2,000 of Set's soldiers when he went to stop this garrison that was out of control. So it's not, nobody else has seen the creepy trolls with dermatitis, as Dak likes to call them.
Am I wrong?
No, probably not. And they end the conversation with like, okay, well, yeah, we'll have to deal with this as we go, and hope this gives us more power in negotiations and such. And then they move on to, anyway, you said you had other news, Sazed, better, hopefully. And he's like, well, not really better as such. It turns out that the mists are killing people. And there is an interesting note here, because we talked about once the mists and like if they could take out the army or whatever out there, and we mentioned like it doesn't go in buildings. Would it go in tents or something like that? And Club specifically mentions it can't enter buildings or tents. So I guess if you're out in the army, then you can stay inside your tent and be safe from it.
Did he say it can't? I thought he said it could, but it evaporates quickly.
The quote is, and it can't enter buildings, Club said, or tents. It evaporates soon after it does. So it's kind of contradictory.
Okay.
That it can't, but it does. It just evaporates really fast.
That whole threshold thing, maybe.
Oh, very Dresden Files, yeah. I don't know the tent would have a threshold even in the Dresden Files, but...
Well, in Dresden it wouldn't, but maybe here, just like by virtue of being a building of some kind. I don't know. Questions for later.
Yeah. And apparently, we didn't really, I think, realize this in any way when we first met Sazed. He was out there teaching people, and it seemed like he just kind of came across this mist stuff. But he tells us in this chapter that he was out there looking for it. He'd heard these rumors, and he went to where the rumors were from to investigate, and that's how he ended up where he was in the first place. Which definitely puts a whole new light on what he's been up to. And I like the part where they ask for Ham's opinion, and he's like, I don't know. And Breeze is like, some philosopher you are. And Ham's like, I'm not a philosopher. I just like to think about things. Breeze says, well, think about this then. These two, they're great.
God, I've missed that.
And Ellen has a sidebar where he's like, have these guys always been like this? And Dawson's like, yeah, I think they've gotten worse, actually. It's just some fun crew, like, byplay. And it's funny because, like, Ellen is, I guess, the new guy in the crew. So he's like, wow, okay. But they're having trouble believing it. Breeze is just outright like, no, you must be wrong. Mists are harmless. They can't be killing people. Vin, on the other hand, is very interested because she's already been investigating weirdness in the mists, right? So, and Say says that it seems to be starting out on the edges of the Empire and moving in. So I guess that's why we haven't seen anything in Luthadel yet. We talked about before how it was like the incidents like seemed to be bad in one place and nobody ever heard of them in another place, and I guess this is sort of an explanation to that.
It's like all the borders, like all the edges and moving inwards. Like, is it circling the entire empire, or is it coming from like sort of, I don't know, one side of it and just moving inwards from there?
We know that Sazed was only in one direction, so he can only know for sure about one direction. One Direction. No, sorry.
You don't know you're beautiful.
But he says the reports are concentrated in the outer dominances, which I guess implies that he's heard reports from some of the other outer dominances.
Right.
And Breeze is just unwilling to hear it. He's like, no, the Terraceman must have his facts wrong. Mist doesn't kill people. And Sazed is not confrontative because he's never confrontative. He's just like, well, I'll have to do more research. I can only tell you what I'm doing.
He's like, Mist doesn't kill people. People kill people.
So Sazed is going to, ford up here and start doing his research and hope that he doesn't get murdered by an army before he's done. So it's all good.
He also keeps calling Breeze by his real name, and Breeze is not happy.
No, Breeze is a little bit grumpy about that. And we talked about that in the last book because he gave us the little secret in the annotations that Breeze is a real nobleman and not a half-breed. Although Allrianne tells us in the 3rd chapter here that it's like, oh yeah, Breezy is half Skaa. He told me about it. But there's actually another similar thing in the annotations for this chapter that's like, yeah, Breeze doesn't like people knowing his real name because it leads back to this fact that he's really a nobleman, and if some of these Skaa thieves found out, then they would not like him.
Which is fair. I feel like these are the only people who are his real friends, and like if he loses them, he might have no one.
And Breeze already has some unlikable qualities to him, so you don't want to push it further.
No.
And then Allrianne shows up to the party and says, hey, I heard voices. Is there a party? And when Breeze calls her, it's like, this is, a state discussion. She's like, well, the other girl is here. Why didn't you invite me? Oh, my gosh.
Jaymee's there?
Eh?
Yeah.
Oh. That didn't even occur to me, but that's great. Good old Jackson has given us something to remember for a long time.
Yep, good old Jeremy. He's a great guy.
I feel like Vin should be super offended by being called the other girl, as if Allrianne has some sort of precedence in this group. Like, I was here, and then there's another girl.
Yeah, it's like much like with us. Vin's like, bitch, I'm the only girl.
Exactly.
You have not put in the hours to be considered part of the group yet, Allrianne.
Other girl.
And look, I think Vin would actually be offended if she put any stock into what Allrianne thought. She's like, nah, I'm not wasting any time on you.
No respect for this girl, so who cares what she says? That's a really good point. Oh, the other girl is here. Sorry, that line just gets me every time.
More so now.
Yep. It's Breeze brought his girlfriend to the party. It's like, have you guys seen The Lady Killers?
No,
I want to though.
Oh, okay. There's a great line from what's his name? Oh, I can't even think of it. But it's about how this one guy brings his girl to the Waffle Hut, and it's very offensive. And Ellen immediately catches on. He's like, how could she have heard voices? We're in the kitchen, and that's as far from the guest quarters as you can get, basically. And immediately notices that, like, she got dressed, but left her hair disheveled, so she'd look like she just woke up or whatever. He latches onto it quickly. And like Jaymee said, if he saw it, everybody must have noticed, right?
Yep.
So I was right in my predicament. She is a spy, just not a good one.
Or she's intentionally looking like a bad spy so she can be a better spy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Webs within
wheels
webs.
within wheels, exactly. So that's what it's going to turn out to be. You just watch. And then Vin and Ellen have their conversation.
Fly caught in its own web.
Avatar references. Vin says, I don't trust that girl. And Ellen is like, I don't even have to say it, do I? You know what I'm going to say. And she's like, yeah, you don't trust anyone, Vin. But this time, I'm right. And she's shocked and impressed that Ellen noticed what was going on. And she's like, you're getting better at this. And he's like, yeah, or maybe she's just not good at this. Either way. And then we get Sazed and Tindwyl's conversation when he gets back to his room and finds her there already. And it's interesting because I agree. There's some depth to this relationship that we're not getting in this short conversation that they have. Because one of the first things, he walks in and he says, Tindwyl, and she says Sazed, and then it says suddenly he was even more acutely aware of his dirty robes. So he's there's something there.
Well, and he knows her, and she's always meticulously tidy. So
that's a fair point. And they have a little talk about Elend and kingship and such. And she says good men can make terrible kings, and he says, yeah, but bad men cannot make good kings. So I think it's better to start with good men and work on the rest, I think.
He's breaking out the I thinks a lot in this conversation.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if we saw any in the conversation he just had, but there are several in this one.
I mean, Tindwyl's a pretty, I would sort of picture intimidating personality for Sazed. She's upstanding and doing everything the way that she's supposed to be doing as a Terrace woman, and then Sazed is the rebel and getting a talking to from someone who he clearly respects and cares about. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'd probably be on the back foot too and just start reasoning. Yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
Yeah, especially since he wasn't expecting this conversation. He just kind of came in and it's like, oh, you're in my room. Okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, he didn't have any time to prep for this one. But she's basically like, what are you doing here, Sazed? You know you're not supposed to be here. And he's like, I have stuff I have to do. The South will get along without me. And she's like, oh yeah, well, who's going to teach them irrigation so they can make enough food to survive the cold months? Who's going to teach them laws and show them the faiths and beliefs that they've lost, and on and on?
Nothing like a good guilt trip.
Right? And she thinks he's here, I guess, because of Ellen and the crew, because she says, I'll take care of your king for you. You must go. And he's like, that's not why I'm here. It's not about that. And it turns out she already knows at least a little bit of what he's looking for, because she's like, you're still looking for this phantom connection of yours, this foolishness with the mists. So apparently he told the other terracemen about it before he even started investigating, and they were like, no, we don't, that's dumb, go do what we told you to do.
Yeah, I guess it just sounds like in between this book and the last one, like he must have been back to Terrace, and there must have been a conclave or something, and he's just like, yeah, I've heard all this shit, and it's like, we don't care.
Yep. Something happened. He told somebody something, and nobody put any stock in it. And she thinks that he's imagining it. She's like, look, you spent 10 years trying to do this thing, and now that you are down to having to do regular work, you can't take it. You want to be important again or whatever. And Sazed, once again, he's not arguing exactly. He's like, yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're right, then I'll have to go and ask forgiveness. I should probably do that anyway, I think. And that seems to bug her even more. She's like, I don't get you. You should be like one of our top people because you're so, she says, you're so calm and humble and careful and respectful and wise. Why are you the one who's the troublemaker? And he's like, I got to do what I think is right.
Because wisdom means knowing when to say no to the authorities. I was expecting something like that, like some proverb out of him, and instead he's like, well, you know what? The last time I had a foolish errand, we toppled the Empire. Boom, roasted.
He does kind of throw that in her face.
Yeah, he really does have the high ground in this conversation, because it's like, look, the Synod may call me a rebel, you may call me that, you may think that I'm not doing what I should be doing, but the last time I decided to go, I toppled the First Empire. I helped topple the final empire and brought our civilization back into normalcy. So say what you want, but I got results.
Mic drop.
Yeah, and she can't say anything to that. And he notes, he's like, yeah, well, nobody can really say anything to that. Everyone told Sazed he was wrong, but then he got it done what they've wanted for 1,000 years. So they're like, they don't want to admit that they were wrong, but they can't exactly give him shit because he succeeded. So they kind of just have to shut up and look annoyed.
He's really the Alexander Hamilton of their society, right? Like, everybody kind of finds him annoying. He's a know-it-all, but he gets the job done. Maybe he'll get shot in the
Harry
duel.
Dresden.
I don't know.
He's
Yeah,
gonna get
that's
shot
true.
in a duel. Who's he gonna duel?
Somebody in the synod. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, she threw a couple of names out there, like all right, we've got names. They'll probably be important later.
She does throw. She says
Yeah.
it makes sense when young
Vedzan.
fireheads like Venzon and Rindle buck the synod's advice. So maybe those guys will show up. Or girls. I guess they
The
could be
Statler
girls.
and Waldorf.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
No, I want to picture two terracemen sitting in the balcony making fun of everyone. That's
Whoa!
Yeah, it's like the synod are making decrees. It's like, we must teach people this. Oh, good idea. Maybe we could teach them how to go to sleep for a long time, because that's what your advice will do. Go!
Somebody sent me on, I think it was Instagram, like a link to a picture that was like how Sazed looks to everyone in our story and how he looks to other terracemen. And it's like, he's this wise, well put together guy to the people in the story, and then to other terracemen, he's this crazy party animal and a wild man. I gotta share that picture with y'all when I find it. It was real funny.
But again, it's just like, God, if this guy is the rebel, what the hell is like their most conservative guy look like? His ass is like, that guy's ass is probably welded to his chair.
Yeah.
Maybe
Exactly.
Tindwyl is the most
He's
conservative.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know. He did say, like,
I mean,
Sazed did think at one point, it's like, man, she looks calm and collected, but she has been through a lot. I'm like, all right, file that detail away for later. That'll be important. She's seen some shit.
Yeah, you gotta imagine that we're gonna find out more about that at some point, right? At this point in the book, she seems like, the new main character that we've been introduced to for this book. She's getting a lot of screen time or page time. I don't know, whatever. And she ends just being like, I don't get you, Sazed. You should be a leader, not our greatest rebel and dissident. Everyone wants to look up to you, but they can't. Must you defy every order that you are given? And he smiles and doesn't answer, and she sighs and leaves. It's she seems very grumpy with him. Oh well, not everyone can be Tindwyl's shopping buddy, I guess. And another funnel-endy fact is our next epigraph. He commanded kings, and though he sought no empire, he became greater than all who had come before. Ooh, fancy. And then this chapter, the middle chapter, is mostly Vin, or it starts out with Vin just out in the mist thinking about stuff. She thinks back to some stuff from the logbook. She mentions that she got somebody else, one of Ellen's seekers, to burn bronze and see if he could feel the same thing that she feels coming from the north, like this thumping that Alendi describes in the logbook as well, and the other seeker could not. So, and then we get to a Zane perspective, where he's annoyed because he's been hanging out at Keep Hastings for days, and Vin is not showing up like she usually does. And he's thinking
this guy's got it bad. He goes to the same place every night and waits for this girl. I mean, he's got one agenda here.
And then when she doesn't show up, he goes to her house.
Yep. He's going to stand on the front lawn with the boombox.
That's what I was about to say, damn it. Ugh.
Beat you.
Yeah.
To the reference. Just reference machines. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's true. Wait a minute. Do you know which film that's from?
Yeah, I do. It's I could have told you if you hadn't asked me.
Nah.
Is it She's All That?
Nope.
Dang it. No, I can't think of what it was. Boombox scene.
Oh, you're gonna look it up, huh?
Say anything. There it is.
Yep,
Okay.
there you go. John Cusack at his finest.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. High Fidelity was pretty great.
I
Yeah,
didn't
but
like High Fidelity that much.
Oh, you didn't? High Fidelity came out around the same time, I feel like, as that movie, though, didn't it?
Oh, did it? I don't remember.
I did like High Fidelity as well.
I tried doing movie reviews on my YouTube channel one time, and that was the movie that I did because I'd never seen it, and people were talking about how great it was in some thread. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch that and do a review of that. It didn't turn out that good, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, now you got me looking at John Cusack's IMDb to see what all he's been in.
Yeah, he went down a weird horror trip for a while. We've come to the John Cusack segment of the podcast. This podcast not sponsored by John Cusack, but it could be. Reach out, John, and we can pimp you out.
He was in Hot Tub Time Machine. See, there's a movie.
I've forgotten about that one. That wasn't bad as far as comedies go.
It was okay.
Con Air.
Yeah,
There you go. That's John Cusack at his best.
Con Air. More like con shit.
I knew you were going there. He's got a message on it. Somebody dropped him out of a plane with a message written on him, like in Con Air. Oh gosh. But Steve Buscemi's amazing in that movie. Anyway, we've drifted so far.
Like
Affleck was the
like
bomb in
Ellen's-
Phantoms, yo.
It's like Ellen said in the last chapter. It's like, are we going on more tangents than normal?
He did say that. I missed that part. I love that line. He's like, does it seem like we're going on more tangents?
I like how it's not something you normally see in a book that somebody's aware. Like, I feel like we're digressing a lot here.
So Zane thinks that Vin, that she could be it, the thing that finally lets me resist, that convinces me to just leave. So he wants to leave Straff, which who could blame him? Quite honestly, Straff is horrifyingly horrible. But he can't do it because Straff's his daddy, and he can't leave unless he's got someone else he can rely on.
Yeah. I imagine Straff has bought himself a world's worst dad mug. Like he bought it for himself.
For
'cause
himself,
he likes, yeah. 'Cause he likes being an awful father.
I got this for me because my children are a bunch of messes.
And
And his advisor's just like, Straff, you shouldn't be proud of that.
that's what you say. I'll be whatever I want to do. I like when Zane shows up and finds Vin, he doesn't even pretend to not be like, he's like, hey, I've been waiting for you, and you didn't come. You're seeming a little needy, guy. Let's just, come on.
Well, it's like Joe said. It's like literally the thing to get him away from his abusive, horrible father is someone else that he can put his dependency on. This guy's friggin' toxic.
Yeah, that's not a relationship you want to. You don't want to step into
that is
Straff Venture's shoes.
No. And it's like, oh, I found someone else I can just put all of my hopes and dreams on. I can run away from my evil dad. And she's just like, get away from me, you creep. I'm not your grand ticket out of here. It just seems like
I don't know, Zach. That's what we want her to say. I don't think that's what she's saying. At least not yet.
Well, to be fair, he's not putting that on her yet. He's not revealing. He's the more Edward Cullen, and he's not, putting all of his personal stuff out there just yet.
Yeah, true. It's just very disconcerting. It's like, man, the more I learn about you, the more I'm like, it's like, ugh, yeah, man, we've passed peak Yedden here into pathetic.
He did say he was insane, so
That's not a get out of jail free card.
It's funny because that's the way that he thinks about it too. He's like, when he's thinking about how he wants to leave Straff, he's like, part of him wanted to just put that down to his insanity, that he couldn't do this, but he knew that was a weak excuse. So he sees it the same way you do. It's all.
Oh God, I agree with him. Ugh.
As long as you don't start hearing God's voice, you're fine.
Oh, Jaymee came up with it. We were just talking about the book in the lead up this week, and she was saying it's like maybe the voice of God is just someone Straff has hired to follow.
I forgot about
follow him
that.
around, just whispers like, "This is the voice of God. Kill people."
That would be amazing, actually. I love this idea.
Yeah.
Somebody's just
It's
trailing
like
him at all times.
It's like a
why he feels
midget
better
that he's
with me.
hired to just follow him around and hide in trash cans and stuff.
And he has to tell everyone else in the army to pretend you don't hear this voice when Zane walks up and you hear somebody whisper, "Kill him."
It's like the ultimate dad prank. It's like, yeah, this will make me a good dad.
Zane finally figures it out, and his dad just jumps out and goes, "Prank superstar!"
Oh, that might be a way to try and drive Vin closer to Zane, because he starts whispering the voice. The army hasn't told Vin not to pretend to hear it, so she's just like, "What was that voice?" And Zane's like, "You hear it too."
Oh God, that'd be amazing. But what Zane is actually doing in this chapter, whether or not there's someone hiding in a trash can nearby, is he's once again trying to drop little things in Vin's ear about they're using you. Ellen especially, she's trying to explain no, she protects him because that's what she wants to do. And he's like, oh, but maybe he's not giving you orders, but you restrain yourself from doing things because of what he wants. So he's just controlling you. And he uses he's like, when you were younger and you were growing up on the streets, didn't you wish you had power? And now that you do, you're not using it because somebody else is telling you not to. And she has a very good point where she's like, I'd like to think that I've learned some things since I was a child and I'm a different person now. And he's like, no, the child's instincts, those are the ones you want to go with. Those are the best ones.
Red flag.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah, my instinct to eat cookies for dinner has not served me well into adulthood, I can tell you that.
Speak for yourself. Cookies all day, every day. And when she doesn't agree with him, he's finally just like, well, you aren't taking me seriously. I'm leaving. And she's like, you know what I would do? I would go out and I would like kill Set and Straff and stop them from threatening Elend, the man I love.
Again, pretty childish.
Yeah. And he's like, well, we'll see. Well, why don't you do that? And then he tries to compare her to a coin. And it's like, it's really easy to forget the value of something when you use it so often and it becomes commonplace and convenient, like a tool. And then he takes off. I don't know that he's taken the right tack with her. Like, we've seen that some of the stuff he says has an effect, but he's really trying to make her think that Elend is using her and all this stuff. And I don't think that she's going to buy that because Elend really doesn't. He rarely tells her to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of had a worry that maybe he would he would be able to sway her away from Elend, especially with how Tindwyl is, putting changes into Elend and Vin's not sure she likes it. But after this conversation, I'm just like, God damn, man, you really aren't good at this. And I'm glad, because I don't want Vin to turn away from Elend, especially for someone like you, but Jesus.
I think he doesn't know relationships very well, and definitely not theirs as well as he pretends that he does. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe he's like really immature because of the way that he's been raised by Straff and kept down all this time, and he's never really grown up, and that's why he's like, oh no, children's instincts. And
he's basically Star-Lord in Guardians 2. He's like, well, of course I have issues. That's my fucking father.
Yeah, no, that fits. So what you're saying is we're gonna get to the end of the book, and Zane's gonna be like, dance off, bro, you and me right now.
Look, that would be interesting.
Zane and Elend in a breakdancing competition at the end of the book. That's my prediction.
I don't think we've seen Elend dance yet, have we? Maybe he's actually really skilled.
Well, they make a point in the next chapter. Vin never danced with him. He always wiggled out of it.
Mm.
He was hiding some smooth moves.
Possibly.
He was saving it for when they get married. He wanted to surprise her.
I learned to dance for the reception. I had Tindwyl teach me. Or Sazed. That'd be a more awkward situation. Elend and Sazed dancing privately in one of the rooms.
Well, given their conversations, he probably might be more comfortable with Sazed than with Tindwyl, because Tindwyl's kind of a bitch to him. She explains why, and again, justified, but Sazed, is a nicer guy to him.
It's true.
Yeah. Gosh, we certainly don't need more slash fiction.
So I think that the one good thing about the epigraphs in these 3 chapters is this next one answers a question that we talked about just yesterday about whether Alendi could have some descendants out there still. Maybe Vin was a descendant, but this one says he fathered no children, yet all the land became his progeny. So no, it doesn't sound like he did.
By yesterday, listeners,
raise my
last
hopes
week.
Dash them in.
They know we recorded yesterday. I told them. It's fine.
I know. I didn't want them to be confused.
Maybe they listened to it yesterday. You don't know. Yesterday from their perspective, not from our perspective, because that wouldn't work.
Oh, let's not open that can of
words. Sorry, Dak. Do your Tinny Tim impression.
You raise my hopes and dash them quite expertly. Bravo! Gotta work on that.
Oh yeah. You got a little ways to go. You can make it though. It's better than mine.
Yeah, Tinny Tim is hard, man, because you got to do a little kid and he's British. Plus, I think he's played by Tress MacNeille, so, it's an extra layer there.
The accent's not much of a problem. It's like hitting the right, ironically, not sounding so tinny in my voice when I speak, while still hitting the right octave.
Give me another Tinny Tim quote. Let me see how I can do.
Gentle jerkwads, someone dropped this in my begging bucket.
He's just
so hungry.
Yeah, he's just so earnest, Good day, gentle jerkwads. Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it.
Extra, extra, greatest opera of all time sucks. No, it's not.
I'll take 8.
Did my sandwich also appreciate in value? Oh, please, oh, please.
You didn't even refrigerate it. What does he call him?
I don't know, something lobster.
Oh my gosh,
You crab.
Oh my, why are we doing? Oh, you spineless. Okay. You didn't even refrigerate it. You spineless. Okay. We're not doing. We're done.
No,
It's fine.
I think that's in my top 5 Futurama episodes. That one.
Oh yeah, 80s guy. 80s guy's the best.
300 Big Boys is also a really great one.
That's a good one.
The Jurassic Bark is sad but good.
Oh yeah, I think we did sit down to watch them once a while ago, and like we were just watching them all sequentially, and then it got to one episode, and Jamie's looked at me and gone, "Oh shit, is this the one with the dog?"
So sad.
Okay, so back to the things we're doing. I really love this opening scene in this chapter where Vin is a light sleeper and she hears Tindwyl coming and immediately like leaps out of bed with her knives ready to fight whoever comes in this door. And Tindwyl's like, "Oh, so you're awake? It's time for a shopping trip."
It's like you woke me up and now you want to go shopping. Like none of these are good things.
Even for a woman that likes to go shopping, I don't know that she would want to be woken up just to be told that they're gonna go shopping.
Yeah.
Well, and then Tindwyl's just going she's like, "So you sleep in your clothes?" And Vin's like, "Yeah, and you don't keep any ladies in waiting?" And he's, "No. Why would I do that?" And she tells her to bathe and we'll leave when you're ready. And Tin's like, Tin. Combination of Tindwyl and Vin is Tin, apparently. Vin's like, "I don't take commands from you." But I don't know. I think she has a point that you don't necessarily want to go and meet Strathventure in raggedy, like, ska clothes.
Yeah, it's just like she just barges in, her blunt manner of just like, "We're doing this today," and Vin's just like, "I'm sorry, have we met?"
It's true.
Sort of not sure where the book's going in terms of where the plot's going or what events are going to come across in the next few chapters. Shopping spree was nowhere near the top of my list of possibilities to happen. The city is under siege, for God's sake.
Yep, I knew that was going to be a surprise for you guys. I was interested to see what you would think when we got here. Shopping. It's
woohoo, shopping.
I'm gonna read the annotations on this one because he understands that this might seem a little strange. So he says, "Part of me wants to get the same reaction out of the reader that Vin gave in this chapter. Shopping? They're going shopping. I realize that this scene is a gamble. This is a book about a besieged city, and in the middle of it, I include a chapter spent trying on dresses. There's a lot of important information I wanted to show in this chunk of the book, and this really did seem like the best way. First off, I want to get Vin back in the market so she could see how tense the people were. Also, I wanted to have a chance to let her interact with Tindwyl to show another side of Tindwyl and to force Vin to start confronting some of the things that she needs to work on in this book." She reacted
that part of it I really liked.
Yeah, no, I agree that's an important section for Vin. He says that she reacted too strongly against the person she was becoming in the last novel. With Kelsier and his encouragement gone, she's reverted, and she's frightened to accept the noble half of who she is. I also wanted to show a bit more of Allrianne. She's going to get some more screen time in upcoming sections, and I wanted a chance to give her character a little more rounding. Beyond all of those reasons, I also just wanted to do something different, something a little more light. I missed the ball scenes we had back in book 1. There was really no way to work them into this book, so I let them go. But I wanted at least to give a nod to the people who enjoyed them in the last novel. This scene and another one are kind of throwbacks to those chapters from the first book. So I guess he felt like we needed something a little light and different and a break from what's going on.
That's fair, I guess.
It kind of is and it kind of isn't, honestly. It definitely has some funny stuff in it. For instance, Vin gets out there and finds Spook, who has been conscripted to act as a pack mule for the day.
I was like, "Oh, that's so funny. I love it." And then I was like, Joe's going to hate it.
No. Actually, this is where Spook should be in his proper place. He could be, if he's a tertiary character in this chapter. He's kind of just hanging out with them. He's hitting on Allrianne. I think that's the kind of role that's suited for his character.
Not somebody given anything important to do. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, presumably they have servants in the palace to do that. Not gonna need the soldier boy.
Right. And I want to take a moment here to say, listeners, before you email in, okay, you need to understand that like 75% of what I say about Spook is just for laughs and giggles and ridiculousness. I don't actually hate anybody. Plus, these are fictional characters. Who gives a damn if I hate one? I mean, really. But anyway, Spook's fine, just not my cup of tea.
The Spook stuff on this show is a lot like the volcanoes. It's just a joke that has gained traction and now comes up just about every episode. Even when there is no Spook or volcanoes.
Right.
There haven't been volcanoes mentioned in a while. So.
Right. And I mean, there's not a thick book in sight in this chapter, these chapters, but it doesn't stop me from thinking thick books are funny.
Yeah. Sometimes there are jokes that carry through all the episodes. Sometimes there's not. We were listening to the episode where Orasur got the dog body, and we were making jokes about how Zane would think, like, that was my dog. Like,
oh yeah,
funny joke. Didn't make it to any other episodes.
In that episode, I was like, I want this to be a recurring joke where like Zane thinks that's his dog that she's got. It never came back.
He's like, I thought you'd come to Keep Hasting and bring my dog so I could see my dog. It's like we're divorced and she got the dog in the divorce. I hate it.
Completely random side note that you just reminded me of. It's my fault. We're taking a tangent, but I saw some post on Reddit today where this lady posts on Facebook that she got her divorce papers in the mail, and there was a sticky note on it from her lawyer that says, "There's a note from the judge in here. He found it really strange that all you wanted was the toaster and not any money." And then she comments, "Someday I'm going to write a book about how much I love this toaster." It was just the strangest, most like the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I have so many questions.
Right? I want to know. I want this book now.
I really like my toaster too, but I mean, come on. I can't just buy a new toaster.
Was there a picture of the toaster?
No, that was all the information that there was, and I'm like, I want more.
Oh, come on!
I want more information about this toaster. Maybe her ex is just really broke, so she wasn't going to get any money out of it anyway. But, okay, sorry. That was the most random tangent all day, but still. I like that Vin agrees to go shopping, and then she shows up and finds Allrianne is also going. She's like, oh, crap. What have I gotten myself into?
This girl.
And then when she asks Spook why he's there, he says, was up too early sneaking food, and Miss Imposing noticed me. And I swear to you, like, he starts out the sentence with was, and I was sure that wasing was coming. Like,
yeah. Well, see, here's a perfect example. Spook is talking like a normal human being here, and it's perfectly fine. I'm not pissed off at all.
But she does use the opportunity to figure out that he can burn tin, and thus is not the Conjure spy. So she got something out of it.
That's quick thinking.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's weird. Like, the second time in these chapters Spook has appeared, and both times he was trying to steal food. Also, he was trying to hit on the cooks in the earlier chapter and failing miserably. So it's like, is that Spook now? The food stealing failed chick magnet? Failed chick magnet? What's the opposite? Chick repeller.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not a failed chick repeller. He just is one.
He's a successful
he's a
chick
chick
repeller.
repeller.
He's really good at it. It's fine. I mean, Vin pulled out in this chapter. She's like, to get Spook's interest, all you have to be is female and smell nice, and sometimes the second one is optional. Oh, it's no wonder that he has no chance with Vin. Like, she does not respect him in any way.
They're just like, the girl has to smell nice. Is that implying that Spook doesn't always either? Maybe that's why he's failing to, hit on women.
I mean, he does have a ska background. He may not have always had baths,
Although he's also a tin eye, which means that any smell would be magnified when he's burning his tin. So maybe it is important that the girl smell nice, because it could be very distracting otherwise. Also, he might notice himself a lot more if he smelled bad.
Yeah, true.
I also like how he's kind of like, I mean, Kelsier gave me my nickname, but nobody remembers me.
Nobody cares about poor old Spook.
Yeah, he's really the Eeyore of the piece here. It's just like, oh yeah, nobody cares about Spook.
If Eeyore was always running after the ladies, that would be an interesting Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, well, there's no female donkeys there.
Fair point. There's not.
It's just interesting because this is a side of Spook we haven't seen before. He's always just been sort of patient, a bit snarky, incomprehensible, awkward, and depressed, or just like, man, I fucking hate my life.
It might
Yeah, I
be.
mean, there's no doubt the dude's an onion. He's definitely not a parfait.
And so of course Vin brings Orsor along, and Orsor gets to sit on the seat. And Allrianne is like, does he really need to sit on the seat? And Vin's like, yes, he does.
She's
And
like, shut your mouth. He's gonna sit wherever the hell I say he's gonna sit.
And then
Get her,
Allrianne
Shiva.
has the weirdest line where she asks, oh, you're an Allomancer. Are the things they say about you true? And Vin's like, well, what things? And she's like, well, you killed the Lord Ruler for one, and that you're kind of, well, just a little bit rickety. And I'm,
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, are she? I mean, I guess she's trying to say you're insane, a little bit, like not all there in the head. That's the only thing I could think when she says rickety.
Yeah, I was kind
Yeah.
of like rickety, unstable.
yeah, I just don't see how it works. I had to go out and look up rickety and see if there was something to that, some meaning to that word I wasn't aware of. And Google says it means of a structure or piece of equipment poorly made and likely to collapse. Or, second definition, when talking about a
Yeah.
person, suffering from rickets. So,
She's got rickets. No, I mean, I think it is like
It's gonna make
she's,
this dancing hard.
she's trying to
Yeah, it
use
would.
that word for the fact that she's a little unstable. But then my question is, where are these rumors coming from? How do people know that she's unstable, or if and when, or whatever?
that's a fair point.
Maybe she's perceived to be unstable because she won't talk to anybody.
And she killed Sean Illyrio real quick.
I don't think anyone probably remembers that, and it got eclipsed by her killing the Lord Ruler not long after.
But it's also a case of, where's Ashweather getting his information from? All right, Straff was in Lutherdell and has people in his army who presumably were also in Lutherdell, so they knew what was going on. Like, who's Ashweather got that's inside the city, aside from his weird pink mist daughter?
It's true. I mean, he had Sazed with him Breeze with him for a while. So maybe Breeze is spreading rumors about, oh, you don't want to mess with this Mistborn. She's something.
Yeah, he's real drunk on wine. He's like, she's the most crazy person I've ever met. She tied her chest hair onto sea turtles and rode them to shore.
He's sitting around there with wires like, you know how many times this girl came back to the safe house in nothing but an undershirt? Heaps, man.
Bleeding everywhere. But Allrianne decides that she can't really be rickety and dangerous because she's going shopping.
Well, doesn't that just bring out the best in everybody?
You're going shopping. That's your aces in my book.
Apparently. And
Allrianne, especially in the scene later, she strikes me as like the star fucker. Like, she's just like, oh man, I'm gonna hitch my wagon to this person. Like when she goes out with Vin to see all the people, she's like, this girl's famous. I'm getting in on this.
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I can see that. She tells Vin that she's the strangest noblewoman I've ever met. Did you grow up far from court? And Vin's like, I'm a ska? And I love Allrianne's reaction to I'm a ska. She's like, oh, you poor thing. And that's where we get the Orsor chuckle.
So happy.
Is your dog laughing at me? He does that.
It's just a thing. It's fine.
We call
Yeah.
it chuckles
Bad
for
dog.
fun.
He's really good at sniffing out dumb women,
Oh,
It just makes him laugh.
Oh.
It's like Breezy is ska too, or half ska. He told me. Good thing he didn't tell Father. Father's never been very nice to ska.
Shocking.
She doesn't seem to have anything against ska, or even like really think less of them from the way she's acting. So that's one thing in her favor. It's just like she's like, oh, you poor thing. Let's go get you a nice dress.
There is that, but she's also come into the capital where I guess it's publicly known that the Scar and the nobles are living alongside each other. So if she came in just like, man, fuck the Scar, that's probably not going to go over so well.
That's true. Do you think that based on what we've seen of her, she has that much self-awareness, though?
All right, touche. Instant concession there.
And they get to the store, and Spook instantly like hops down and is trailing Allrianne, and that's where we get Vin's comment. Like, honestly, it's a little bit catty that she's like, the noblewoman had gotten Spook's attention, but it wasn't hard to get Spook's attention. You had to. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to have breasts and smell nice. And the second was sometimes optional. I misquoted that earlier.
So is he into large dudes too?
Well, it depends if they smell nice. And Vin is just like, I have a lot of trouble feeling sorry for her that she was tragically taken from her dresses, Tindwyl. And Tindwyl's like, hey, let's be a little bit less judgy, okay? Which on one level, that's fair. And on another level, I'm like, I also don't feel sorry for Allrianne at all. So just thinking back when Breeze is like, yep, we're going to have to hire a new pastry chef or order them brought in because she's got to think about pastries. I'm like, I don't feel bad for you.
She's either like the best spy around because no one's actually going to give any credit to her, or she's just so floofy. Like,
Good word.
Yeah.
The horror. I've been kept from my dresses and pastries. Get some perspective.
She's like Alias from Alias, you know? She's Jennifer Garner. That's how good she is.
Oh, okay, that's how good she is. I was like, Jennifer Garner wasn't floofy, but I guess she sometimes did play like the ditzy thing, so I get, okay. But it leads to the Tindwyl and Vin conversation where Tindwyl's like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. It's like, hey, your friends say that you used to like dresses and things. I guess they must have been wrong, huh? And Vin's like, no. And she's like, it's not me. I can't pretend that it's me. And she's like, well, why not? And we kind of get to the bottom here where she asks, why won't you marry the king? And she's like, he deserves someone better, someone who can be like a queen, not a bodyguard. He shouldn't have asked me. He can't marry me. And we find out the day that he asked her to marry him is the day that she stopped wearing dresses. It's kind of, this relationship it's kind of sad the way that she's seeing herself here. But it's
well,
nice.
I think we know that self-esteem has kind of always been her biggest hurdle.
You're not wrong. And she claims that he fell in love with what I was pretending to be when I was like Valette. And Tin was like, oh, so he just, immediately left when you stopped pretending to be that then, right? She's like, oh, well, I mean, no, but she says that Allrianne has maybe eager and a bit too outspoken, but she seems to know how to recognize what is good in a person. I don't know where she's getting that, honestly, but okay, if you say so.
Maybe they've had conversations we're not privy to.
Right.
Just the fact that, Vin came down and found Tindwyl and Allrianne together and getting ready to go out gave me think, wait, do you guys have a relationship already? This seems a bit, yeah.
Yeah, that did ring some alarm bells to me.
You're not wrong. That's pretty quick. And Tindwyl says that she wants to help Vin become whoever she is. And why look at only one side of yourself when your Ellen sees so much more? And she even calls out Breeze, and he seems like a cynical, mocking guy, and then he looks at Allrianne, and you can tell he softens and wonders how much of his harsh unconcern is an act, which we just found out last week, if you prefer, that the same thing basically. So she's a little Tindwyl is a little perceptive, it seems like, shocking no one probably. And then we get the interaction with the dressmaker, where Vin's trying on dresses, and he's like, oh my gosh, you're like, I've never seen anyone so graceful. And then he finds out a minute later that who she is. And Tindwyl says, yeah, Lady Vin is going to need this. And he's like, what? I'm sorry, who? What? And then when he realizes that he has the woman who killed the Lord Ruler in his shop, he's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to offend you. Please don't kill me.
She's like, I'm fine. It's cool, man. Be cool.
It's like, I wasn't going to kill you much. It's all good. And
there's this section is where I actually thought, all right, you know what, Tindwyl, you're all right. Just the fact that she asked, Vin asked, why are you being so nice to me when you're always so harsh to Ellen, and she explains, well, Ellen was always pampered. He needs a little harsh truth. I think you've had enough in your life. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a big call. And then as they're going through the dresses, Tindwyl is just dictating all the things the dress needs, which are things that are important to Vin, like being able to move easily, being able to move quietly. And it's like, wow, you really picked up on all the things Vin needs in her clothing for her Mistborn clothing, and are applying it to the dresses, which she doesn't have anymore. That's actually, yeah. This section, it's like, all right, Tindwyl, you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's clearly not her first rodeo, you know. She's thinking about this Mistborn lady in her needs. I mean, for all we know, she could have been a stewardess to a Mistborn before.
Yeah, we still don't know anything about her past yet, really, other than she studied biographies. And that's when people start showing up outside and like looking in through the windows to see what's going on. And here's Spook's, why do you get to be so popular? And Vin says, I killed their god. And Spook's like, well, I helped too. I even got my nickname from Kelsier, but nobody cares about poor little Spook. And Vin does not even deign to respond to that. She does not care about poor little Spook and his whining.
I mean, who
That's
would?
And I don't know, maybe Allrianne has a point where, you know, Tindwyl's trying to get Vin to go out there and talk to them. And Vin's like, I don't want to encourage them to think of me as like, you know, Kelsier wanted them to worship him. I don't want that. And if I go talk to them, it's just going to encourage this. And Allrianne's like, no. You don't understand. Hiding in corners, wearing strange clothing, and being mysterious, that's what got you a reputation. If people knew how ordinary you were, they wouldn't be so crazy to get a look at you. And then she immediately is like, oh, I don't think I meant that like it sounded. Or I didn't mean that like I think it sounded.
And we're back in the Mean Girls section.
I don't know.
She's like, you're basic.
I thought it was surprisingly self-aware for Allrianne to like say that and then instantly be like, oh, I'm sorry, that didn't sound right.
Oh yeah, that bit was fine.
So I don't know. Do you think that she has a point? Is it gonna make Vin less like of an object for people to come after when she goes out and talks to people like she does?
By Vin being more visible, she's less of a mystery, so people may be a little less stalkerish, I guess, of her. You know, finding her in a dress shop. I don't think the curiosity would go away, but it wouldn't be a case of, oh, you know, Lady Air is here, we must talk to her and see her. It would probably be less intrusive, I guess.
Again, red string tinfoil. This could be why Allrianne's here and like, you know, making friends with Vin and stuff like that, is to lessen her mystique, so the common people are not as interested in her and they won't rally to her banner the way that they rallied to Kelsier. This could be a long game by Ashweather to diminish Vin's power among the people. Maybe.
Ooh, interesting. That would
like
be
if they just see her as ordinary, they don't give a shit.
That would be some deep planning. That's like some 3D chess on his part if he's like, we're gonna get this done. But it's totally possible. We still don't know. We haven't met Set. We don't know anything about him and how, like, what kind of guy he is. So,
yeah.
Except that he apparently didn't appreciate Breeze, according to his daughter. And Vin says, I don't want people to worship me. I just want to be left alone. And Tindwyl's like, yeah, that ship has sailed. You killed the Lord Ruler. You were trained by the Survivor, and you're the king's consort. And Vin's like, I'm not his consort. I have no idea how to finish this sentence, so I'm going to stop talking now. That was.
We don't like labels.
Yeah, see? And Allrianne goes with Vin and doesn't really do anything. I'm not even sure why she went. She's like, you can, fight them off if this gets messy, right? And that's kind of the last we hear from her.
Yeah. She wants to be famous, man, I'm telling you.
Photo op.
Yeah, there you go.
Associated with fame.
She did the whole grab the arm, and Vin's like, how do I get out of this? Bad touching. Bad touch.
And so Vin tries to, make everybody not so scared. I mean, she uses a little bit of soothing, and she's like, hey, everything's going to be all right. The armies are trying to intimidate us. The king's not going to let them. The king and I are going to go meet with him and try to get Straff to be our ally. And someone's like, the king's going to surrender. I heard it. He's going to trade the city for his life. And people start talking shit about Ellen, basically. Like, he's not a soldier. He won't fight for us.
Whoa.
And things get a little heated. And she screams at everyone to stop and kind of pushes on the metal in the crowd. And she's like, no one gets to say anything bad about the king. I'm not going to stand for it. And she kind of shames them by being like, this is all the stuff that he does for you.
Yeah, she's doing the work that she's laying some groundwork for him when he finally is like out and about with the people.
Yeah, he kind of needs to be seen some, I think. It's clear that, Tindwyl's been training him, but it still doesn't seem like the people have had a chance to see him and get any new impressions of him. Maybe she doesn't trust him to not embarrass himself yet. And when she's done, it kind of sort of worked. People seemed a little better. And she tells Tindwyl, she feels like she lied, that there's no way they can do what she said they were going to do. And Tindwyl's like, well, then run. And Vin's like, I didn't mean it like that. And Tindwyl has the best line where she's like, well, make a decision then. either give up on the city or believe in it. Honestly, the pair of you. She's just like, this is
Well,
And say,
they're teenagers.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think Ellen was 20 or 21 in the last book, so he's
Yeah, but you know.
Shit, Tindwyl's just thinking, man, Sazed owes me big time for these two.
It's probably true. It's like, oh, geez, young people. And then there is an attack on the walls, as if to immediately contradict what she's just told all these people. And everyone rushes up there. Ellen's like, archers shoot people. Vin shows up and starts fighting people, and it turns out that it was just kind of a feint.
But boy, did this army bumble around like a bunch of idiots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clubs explains. He's like, oh, it's common in warfare, quick skirmish to see how your enemy responds, to test their defenses, basically. And Helen's like, a test? My guess is we did not do very well. And Clubs is like, far worse than we should have, actually. Maybe this will scare the lads into paying better attention during drills. Oh, jeez. This is just to let us know that they're not ready.
And it's like, Clubs is like, when did you get optimistic? And then the look on his face is immediately just like, oh, did I just say that?
Yeah, it's kind of a down note to end this chapter on. And Ellen's like, this is Straff trying to let me know. We're about to go meet him, but before we get there, he wants to say, I can take the city anytime. Remember that. So, yeah.
Well, as Dante says, that's what life is, a series of down notes.
Okay. See, first I was thinking Dante's Inferno, and I was like, that seems like a weird thing to come out of Dante's Inferno. And then I thought maybe he means Dante from Devil May Cry, and that's also a weird thing to come from there. It took me a while to make it to Clerks. I'm sorry.
Devil May Cry was your second option? I mean, come on.
That's fair, actually. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's where we end these 3 chapters. Is Straff Venture letting us know he can take the city whenever he wants, and we find out our soldiers aren't prepared, and everything is kind of sad and bad. So, any last thoughts on these before we get into the predicaments section this week?
My thoughts are, I'm ready for some action. I'm with Dak. Let's get to it.
What he said.
What he said. Okay, then let's move into predicaments. I think Joe has gone first the last 2 or 3 times, so let's have Dak go first this time. What do you have?
Not really a lot. The only prediction I can really make based off what we've seen in these chapters is the meeting with Straff is not going to go well. If I want to go full tinfoil, I think she Vin has this fancy new dress she can move in. It has pockets and shit, so she's going to be in good stead. I wonder if she'll bring Orasur along for the ride when they have this meeting. It's like, this is my girlfriend. This is her dog. And Straff just like, do I pat the dog? And Ben is like, please don't. So I feel like...
on that, Dak, if Orasur goes, does Straff still have his Kandra? And can they recognize each other?
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe she shouldn't bring the dog.
Well, if my theory is correct, then that is his Kandra. So.
That's true. If Joe's
true.
correct. We've talked about before whether or not Kandra can recognize each other, and I feel like that's a question that maybe Vin should have asked when she's trying to figure out how to find this guy. It's like, oh, well, could you spot him maybe? But
so that might be a question that's just like I don't have to answer that.
Yeah, maybe not.
And I get the feeling that whatever goes wrong, Vin's going to get out of Straff's camp. Either Elend or Orasur aren't. Whether they get taken prisoner or killed, I don't think either of them will get killed at this point. But I feel like one of them is going to get caught and stuck there, and Vin's going to have to flee and leave them behind.
You really think would Vin do that? Would she leave Elend behind? I mean, Orasur, they're starting to be friends. I could buy maybe in an emergency she'd leave him behind. Do you think she would leave Elend? Well,
I just can't think of. There's got to be something that shakes up the status quo. And I think, they can't contain Vin. But I think, she will, so I think she will get out. But something else has got to change to make the situation worse, more than just an argument where they're allowed to leave again. So I feel like what's the most obvious way for that to happen is either for someone to die or for someone to get caught. And if someone gets caught, there's more stakes, and they got to save them again as well. So that's what I'm sort of leaning towards. I don't know how it would come to a point that she has to leave Ellen behind, but I think it might eventually happen. Maybe Ellen like orders her to or something. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Joe can go second this time. What do you?
Yeah, okay. I like where Dak's headed. I predict Allrianne may not be a spy, but she's got more going on than maybe we're aware of. I don't know that she's really on Set's side, but I think maybe she has her own agenda here, and I'm interested to know where that might be going. She almost strikes me as like similar to the spy in the last book that we found out about, the informant that was going around the balls being like the gossip or whatever. I get a similar kind of vibe from her. So yeah, I get a similar kind of vibe from her. I'm thinking maybe along those lines somehow. You know, she's got her own agenda for getting information. Because obviously Ellen and Vin are not wrong. She was snooping down there, probably heard a lot of what they were saying, and then just kind of came out when it was convenient for her to do so. So there's more to her than I think we're seeing just now, which I think we've all kind of had that feeling. And man, like I said, I hope like maybe after this meeting with Straff, like, you know, maybe we'll get like a Game of Thrones type thing where the mist monsters come and just like totally mess up all of these armies, and then they're like, oh, well, this is the much bigger threat. We gotta go do something about this right now. So I'm hoping that's where this is all heading.
Okay, fair enough. You want to break the siege story that we've got so far and get to the quote unquote real story.
Yeah, let's GTFO of Luthadel, you know.
Fair enough. Okay, Jaymee, what are you thinking?
So I'm thinking that I don't trust Allrianne at all. I sort of agree with Joe. If she's not a spy, she's definitely got something else going on. But yeah, I really don't trust her at all. I thought it was interesting that Zane spoke about the coins again and not understanding the true value of the coins, specifically with what we spoke about in the last episode. You know, maybe.
I didn't even make that connection. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know whether that was just fresh in my mind, so it stood out to me, or I don't know. I still think there's something going on there. I think Dak definitely hit that on the head in the last episode. I think that Tindwyl will be the one who's going to piece together some of the information about Alendi, because she's got their history with all the kings. So I think some of what we maybe don't know about Set or Alendi and the kings that he commanded back in the day, I think we're going to learn a bit more information from Tindwyl yet. What else have I got? I'm really interested that Vin can hear the pulsing, and like Alendi mentioned, being able to hear the pulsing from the mountains as well. I think it's a bit obvious to sort of jump to, okay, well, Vin is the hero of ages at this point, but it really makes me think if Vin's got that ability to pierce the copper clouds and can hear that and feel that, why was Alendi able to do that as well? What happened there? I think that's something I really want to know a bit more about. And the prophecy, we really need to start hearing that, how it was written, I think. We've got Alendi, like you said earlier, in the epigraphs talking about all these things that it seems to line up with what he was thinking about the prophecy. And I've got a couple of ideas on who could fit those things, but I think we'll sort of figure out a bit more as more of that's revealed. But I've probably got 3 or 4 people at the moment I'm considering.
You want to share?
No, not yet. I feel like Vin is probably an obvious one to fit some of those things in a roundabout way. But yeah, I don't know if that's just too obvious. But there's a couple of other people that we've already met that I think might fit it. But I will hold those a bit closer to my chest for now.
Okay, fair enough. All right then. We obviously don't have any new emails since yesterday or any other comments or anything, so we won't waste time doing that. I will can't talk. Let's touch on for our next record. We are reading chapters 26, 27, and 28, which actually takes us through the end of part 2 and and gets into the first chapter of part 3 of this book. So at the end of parts, something big usually happens, right? Maybe we're gonna see something.
I hope this is the most anticlimactic ending of a part ever.
Oh, that's why I said that, right? Because it was
Right.
gonna be like
Exactly.
nothing, absolutely nothing is gonna happen, and you're gonna be like, oh, I was wanting action, and they had they had a nice dinner with Straff, and everybody got along, and
Yeah. The end of the part is
like-
like Vin put on her dress and felt really good about herself. The end.
End of the part is all the Koloss fell off a cliff and died.
Allrianne was disappointed in her dress and returned it.
oh. Yes, it'll be a couple of weeks for us before we record that. So
Wait, I got another one. Spook got shot down.
what did they
shot
shoot?
down
What did they
from
shoot
where?
him with? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, as in he was trying to pick up another woman and she said no.
Oh.
Okay. I believe that.
Okay,
Shot down
Jack,
by
when
the
you're
ladies.
talking about
Yeah,
a
definitely
war,
believe that.
Right, yeah,
you need to
okay,
clarify.
sorry. My bad.
Yeah. His plane was shot down over the mountains. There were no survivors.
So yes, that is for next time. If anybody wants to send us emails, I'm sure we'll probably have a lot between now and then, since it'll be a couple of weeks for us. Although you guys should be getting one episode a week without fail, assuming everything goes like it's supposed to. So you can send us an email at thesanderlanche@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, The Sanderlanche. You can find us on Twitter. You can get us on Instagram. I'm running out of good pictures to use on Instagram. We're going to get into some weird stuff soon. But yeah, send us things, send us comments, praise, complaints, whatever. Go out and rate us on whatever you use to get your podcasts from, so that other people see and appreciate the awesomeness that we're obviously putting out every single week without fail.
Musical by Miracle Sound.
But until then, wuzzing to the time of next, everyone.
And we try to keep a little beauty in the world. All that died, we keep it in our hands. Oh, we are the maiden voice. We are the endless we keep it in our hands. We tell it to the page. We never let it fade.